Ever since the NFL was formed in the late 60s, the sport of football has seen a tremendous rise in popularity. From the Packers winning the first Super Bowl to Brady absolutely dominating the century, we have seen great teams form dynasties and others just simply struggling to make the playoffs. While watching the playoffs last week, it led me to the ultimate question of which division is the worst in the entire history of the NFL. So today, I set out to find exactly that. Ever since 1970, we've seen divisions have pretty much similar levels of success throughout the years. For the most part, divisions have been between about a 480 and 520 win percentage. And for good reason. The way the NFL is built is so the bad teams can get good players from the draft, so hopefully in a few years they can become a lot better. As we can see at the top, the AFC West since 1970 has the highest winning percentage at .516. And for the most part, the divisions stack up pretty close, except of course the AFC South. The AFC South is 2.7 percentage points below the average of a 50% win percentage. To put this in perspective, a division on average wins about 32 games every single season. However, in the AFC South, they only average about 30.2 wins a season, which doesn't seem like a huge difference until you truly dive deeper. Now that we know how the division performs on a year-to-year basis, let's check out how the top teams in each division do every year. After all, the main thing that people actually worry about is the Super Bowl wins and Super Bowl losses. Since 2002, in the 23 years that the AFC South was formed, the division has a grand total of 1 Super Bowl win during that entire period. But that's not all. In that time period, the AFC South has only been represented in the Super Bowl twice. That is correct. The AFC South in that time period has only been to the Super Bowl 2 total times in 23 years. This being in a league that doesn't just guarantee the division winner a playoff spot, but also home field advantage for at least the first game. And to top everything off that I just said, the AFC South as a division hasn't made the Super Bowl in the last 15 years. Now that we know that the AFC South statistically is in fact the worst division by a wide margin, let's take a look at why they are such a horrible division. The first thing we should look at is the lack of good quarterback play within this division. Since 2002, the AFC South has produced 1 total Hall of Fame quarterback, being Peyton Manning. In Manning's time with the Colts, he has produced the AFC South's 2 Super Bowl appearances and their 1 win. However, since 2002, the Jaguars have had a total of 20 different starting quarterbacks, Titans have had 21 total starting quarterbacks, and the Texans have had 21 different starting quarterbacks as well. What this shows is outside of the Colts drafting Peyton Manning, the division as a whole isn't very good at either drafting quarterbacks or just developing them, which has shown up in these big games where they've consistently been losing. The quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports, and this division cannot seem to draft quarterbacks very well at all. Another reason the division's struggling as a whole is because none of the teams have ideal free agent locations. Unlike other divisions, the teams in this one just aren't in ideal locations that will attract top-tier talent. For instance, when you think of areas that you might want to live in or where your family might want to live in, you may think of North Carolina, Florida, or California to go to, just overall nice places where there's stuff to do. However, I would not call Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee, or Jacksonville ideal spots to go to in free agency. Because of the lack of ideal free agency spots, we truly haven't seen an alpha dog come through that division in a while. Which is why this division just hasn't seen much success in the past decade or so. The last reason I saw for the lack of success in the AFC South is just the absolute juggernauts that have been going through the AFC conference as a whole within the last 2 decades. For example, there was obviously Brady on the Patriots and Manning on the Broncos. But it wasn't just them. Of course, there was Big Ben on the Steelers, who led them to 3 Super Bowls, and Mahomes, who has been absolutely dominating the AFC the past few years in general. Also, star quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are on the rise in the AFC for the coming years. In general, the AFC is an absolute factory when it comes to producing very good quarterbacks, and the AFC South has to either adapt and draft good quarterbacks, or they will probably be in this trend for a few more years at the very least. For this reason, I sadly see this trend continuing for the AFC South, and I just don't see much future success coming from them unless they draft someone really, really good. There are just way too many good teams in the AFC right now, in my opinion, and the AFC South just doesn't have much of a shot outside the Texans. If you enjoyed this video though, please hit the like button, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.